Lap 6, turn 1, chaos.
Bravest Piastri feeling, he hits Antonelli, who hits Charles Leclerc.
Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari, red, wounded, sliding wide after contact with Carlos Sainz, 17 cars ahead, a broken front wing, and then the message that would echo through the paddock for weeks. These guys are a joke, a complete joke. 7 world championships, 2 decades of experience. And for the first time in years,
whoa, that's what it looked like on board. Colapinto is the car ahead.
Hamilton didn't just criticize the FIA, he declared war on them. Because what happened in Brazil wasn't just another bad race.
For Max Verstappen, he gets past Hamilton, who's got damage on the car.
It was the moment Formula One's greatest champion finally said what everyone else was too afraid to whisper.
It's a shame because I love Brazil.
Has the FIA lost control of its own sport? Or has Lewis Hamilton simply lost patience with a system he believes is broken beyond repair? The Brazilian Grand Prix was supposed to be redemption. Hamilton had just endured Mexico, a 10-second penalty that cost him his first Ferrari podium. A ruling so harsh that even neutral observers questioned whether the stewards were watching the same race. Interlagos was his chance to reset, starting 13th, damaged aerodynamics, but determination burning like fuel in his veins. Then the first corner arrived. Contact with Sainz, Hamilton drops to 17th. The SF25 already compromised, struggling for grip, bleeding downforce with every meter, but he pushed. Because that's what champions do, until the main straight, where Franco Colapinto's Alpine and Hamilton's already damaged Ferrari met in a collision that would ignite the controversy of the season. The front wing, gone. The floor, destroyed. 40 points of downforce evaporated in a fraction of a second. And then, just minutes later, the verdict from race control. 5-second penalty. Hamilton predominantly to blame for a car already broken, for a maneuver executed with compromised stability, for an incident that ended his race before the stewards even finished typing their decision. That's when Hamilton exploded over the radio. Raw, furious, unfiltered. These guys are a joke, a complete joke. But this wasn't heat of the moment frustration. This was months of pent-up anger finally breaking through the surface. Because Brazil was just the latest chapter in a story that's been building since Mexico, since Zandvoort, since Abu Dhabi 2021, the night a controversial call stole his 8th world title. Every questionable ruling, every inconsistent penalty, every time the FIA chose secrecy over transparency, it all came flooding back in that one radio message. On the surface, the FIA's decision seemed standard. Contact occurred, one driver deemed responsible, penalty issued, case closed. But dig deeper and the cracks appear. The stewards acknowledged extenuating circumstances in qualifying when Hamilton crossed a double yellow flag zone, the viewing angle, the brief signal duration, the focus on braking points. Yet, they still issued a formal warning. In Mexico, Hamilton was punished for going off track while battling Max Verstappen, a 10-second penalty for what many saw as a racing incident, while others in similar situations escaped unpunished. And now, Brazil, where the Ferrari was already damaged, where telemetry showed compromised aerodynamics, where the collision resulted from a destabilized car trying to navigate traffic. But the context, ignored. The technical reality, dismissed. The fact that Hamilton's race was already over, irrelevant. Because here's the twist that changes everything. The FIA wasn't just penalizing the incident. They were penalizing the pattern. 3 penalty points now sit on Hamilton's super license. 2 from Zandvoort, 1 from Brazil. A countdown has begun. And with it, a question that should terrify every Formula One fan. Is the sport's greatest driver being systematically pushed toward a race ban? Fred Vasseur doesn't do public confrontations. The Ferrari team principal is diplomatic, calculated, a man who understands that battles with the FIA are fought behind closed doors, not in press conferences, until Brazil forced his hand. After the race, Vasseur didn't just defend Hamilton, he questioned the entire system. He called the Mexico penalty very, very harsh and not very well handled. He pointed to inconsistencies in stewarding decisions across multiple races. He suggested that the FIA's lack of transparency was directly impacting Ferrari's championship fight. And then came the line that revealed everything. These decisions don't just ruin races, they shape championships and careers. Translation: Ferrari believes the FIA is no longer impartial. But Vasseur's statement wasn't just about defending his driver. It was strategic positioning. Because Ferrari knows what other teams are saying privately. They've heard the whispers from drivers who feel the rules change depending on who's involved. They've seen the mounting frustration over penalties that seem arbitrary rather than consistent. By speaking out, Vasseur transformed Ferrari from victim to spokesperson, giving voice to a discontent that's been spreading through the paddock like wildfire. The revelation isn't just that Hamilton is angry, it's that Ferrari, one of Formula One's most powerful institutions, has decided the FIA can no longer be trusted to administer justice fairly. The fallout was immediate. Hamilton's radio message, "These guys are a joke," went viral. Social media exploded, fans divided into camps. Those who saw a frustrated driver crossing the line, and those who saw a champion finally speaking truth to power. But the real consequences run deeper than public opinion. Ferrari ended Brazil with 0 points. Charles Leclerc retired after a collision involving Kimi Antonelli and Oscar Piastri. The SF25, both cars gone, while Mercedes celebrated. For a team fighting McLaren and Mercedes for constructors' position, it was devastating. Not just the points lost, but the narrative created. Ferrari under siege, both from rivals and from the very officials supposed to ensure fair competition. And then there's the super license system, originally designed to deter dangerous driving, now functioning as a sword of Damocles over Hamilton's head. 3 points in 12 months, 9 away from a race ban. Every minor incident becomes a potential catastrophe. Every racing moment carries the weight of exclusion. And the uncertainty, the not knowing what will be penalized and what will be ignored, makes driving defensively the only rational strategy. But Hamilton has never been rational. He's been relentless. Which means the next controversial moment isn't a question of if, it's a question of when. And when it comes, the FIA will face a choice: double down on their current path or admit that something fundamental has broken in how Formula One polices itself. Scenario 1, the FIA ignores Hamilton's criticism, more penalties follow, the super license point total creeps higher, and one race, perhaps in the heat of a championship battle, Lewis Hamilton is forced to watch from the sidelines while lesser drivers take his place. Scenario 2, the drivers unite. Russell, Leclerc, even Verstappen, names whispered in private conversations, become public allies. The GPDA demands transparency, consistency, ex-driver involvement in stewarding. The FIA, facing rebellion from its own competitors, is forced to reform. Scenario 3. Ferrari escalates. Armed with telemetry, legal expertise, and institutional power, they challenge the FIA's authority in ways no team has dared before. Not just about Hamilton's penalties, but about the entire regulatory framework. And in doing so, they trigger a political war that could reshape Formula One's governance structure. One of these scenarios will unfold in the coming races. Maybe all three. Was Hamilton right to explode on team radio? Or did his frustration blind him to his own responsibility? Is the FIA really showing favoritism? Or is Formula One's most successful driver simply unable to accept that the rules apply to him too? And here's the question that should keep everyone awake. If a 7-time world champion with 2 decades of experience no longer trusts the officials, why should anyone else? Because Brazil wasn't just about a 5-second penalty. It was about the moment the sport's greatest voice decided that silence was no longer an option. And in Formula One, once that line is crossed, there's no going back.